In today's Leeds news, new link and Rothwell Future, Elland Road expansion update imminent, Greenwood uncertain future, Leeds move one step closer, and under 21's result. Morning folks, Jay here at The View, Monday morning the 14th of April with your Leeds United news. Hope you've had a really good weekend. Leeds definitely made it easier for us this week to enjoy ourselves and relax. And we're one step closer, we're that close to getting across the line. Still work to do, but nearly there, as Sheffield United have completely imploded over the last couple of weeks. And Chris Wilder's reaction, not just what was captured on camera by Sky in the tunnel, but also his comments towards certain Plymouth fans that were picked up on camera as well, could see him in big trouble before the end of this season and potentially have a touchline ban, which will no doubt impact on Sheffield United. Mainly it might just help Leeds United out that little bit more heading into the final couple of games. But we have a little bit of stuff to get stuck in today, and we'll start off around a potential midfielder link, pinch of salt absolutely with this one, and then the potential impact that could have on Joe Rothwell's future. Rothwell is currently out injured, and there are hopes that he will be back available for this weekend. Daniel Farke is saying he could miss 3 games, and then will likely be back in contention. We'll get an update from Farke towards the middle of this week on where we are coming into a very, very important weekend of championship action. Talks around what Rothwell's future are likely to start coming more and more into the spotlight, along with the likes of Manor Solomon. As the season looks to wrap up, the lone players' futures will be discussed, but according to links and rumours today, Leeds United might be keeping an eye on other central midfield options, and that may have an impact on a potential Joe Rothwell future. According to Kronen Zeitung, they claim that Leeds are one of several clubs interested in Austria Vienna midfielder Abubakr Barry. The report says that the Vienna may be looking to offload the midfielder and are looking for millions from him into this summer. He is widely expected to leave the club. This season, Barry, who's 24 years of age and a central midfielder, has started 20 games for Austria Vienna and scored once along with 3 assists. There is a question around the potential ability for him to make the step up to England and even the Premier League if that should happen for Leeds. But Rothwell's future might be now being reviewed, as Leeds, if these rumours are true, are looking now at other central midfield options. Rothwell's future will likely be sorted out with Leeds in the next coming weeks as Leeds' future for next season is decided, and he's been really, really good for Leeds this season. I've been a big fan of Joe Rothwell and everything he's done for Leeds this season, and I'd love to see him kept on the club in some capacity, but I suppose it comes down to value versus output and what Leeds can get from these players in the Premier League next season when they get there. Should they get there? We're nearly there. Should they get there? But they are clearly looking at other options in there as well. There will be significant upgrades needed in certain positions for next season if, results this season have to be looked at. But we'll talk about that in the coming weeks, no doubt. Let's move on and talk about an imminent announcement on the Elland Road expansion plan, and with Leeds one step closer to promotion to the Premier League. Stadium expansion update is now something we're all very interested in getting a look at. According to the YP, BBC and The Athletic over the weekend, Leeds United are set to formally announce plans to boost the Elland Road capacity to 56,000 supporters. The club are expected to submit a formal planning application outlining the scheme imminently. That's according to a spokesperson from the Leeds City Council. A report is due to go before city councillors later this month, and it says that a 30 acres of brownfield privately owned land would be developed, and Elland Road would become a thriving 365-day-a-year destination. The report goes on to say that should planning permission be granted, construction work will start on the west stand within the next 12 months, so any time between it being granted and the end of this year. While work on the north stand would then begin as the second phase of that, and the plan is obviously to build around both of those two stands and not knock them, and to try and maximise the attendance during the construction period. The expansion would make Elland Road the 7th largest stadium in England, and Leeds Chief Operating Officer Maury Eisenberg has had the following to say about it. Elland Road holds a significant place in the hearts of Leeds United fans and the city as a whole. The agreement with Leeds City Council marks another step towards our ambition to expand and refresh a century-old stadium while retaining the unique atmosphere and spirit of Elland Road. Our commitment to the long-term success of the club is illustrated in our plans to invest in, modernise and revision the stadium, improving the facilities and the ability to welcome thousands more fans through the doors. James Lewis, leader of the Leeds City Council, said the club deserves a stadium befitting of its special status and incredible fans. And he said that the council was keen to support Leeds on this proposal however they can to ensure a bigger and brighter future for the club. It goes on to say that local residents will be kept up to date regarding the improvements to the ground and the construction work around the stadium, and they will be kept up to date on an ongoing basis. Let's move on. Let's talk about Sam Greenwood, who's out on loan, and we've already mentioned Leeds loanees, so it's only fair to talk about the ones that are out on loan and whose futures are also likely up in the air right now. And Sam Greenwood's future is very much up in the air if reports today are to be believed. Greenwood has been out on loan at Preston all season, and at the beginning of his loan it looked very obvious that Preston would just take the £1.5 million option to buy Greenwood and bring him in to part of his squad. But as the season's gone on, those opinions have changed slightly, and according to reports that might not be the case now. Greenwood's season has been described by the Yorkshire Evening Post as being steady, and he scored 5 goals and has 3 assists so far this campaign for Preston. Journalist Alan Nixon is reporting today that Preston's stance on a purchase of Sam Greenwood has changed and is now looking increasingly unlikely. The reason is said to be due to the fact that the club need to bring in permanent options in other areas next season, and Nixon says that Preston's finances are tight and they're unwilling to spend a 7-figure fee on Sam Greenwood. The loanee started really well for Preston this season, as he did last season on loan at Middlesbrough, but similar to the Borough loan, as the season's gone on, Greenwood's impact has lessened and he's found himself on the bench in recent weeks and obviously missed out on the Leeds game due to the parent club rules. But Greenwood will go into this summer heading into the final 12 months of his contract at Leeds United, and a decision around his future will be needed. Leeds could just negotiate with Preston some version of a cut price deal. The £1.5 million option early last season looked like a bit of a bargain and a steal for Middlesbrough, but as the year went on, Middlesbrough decided to opt away from that, and again this season when he started at Preston it looked like the £1.5 million would be a big bargain, but now again as the season's gone on, Greenwood's impact has just lessened and lessened on the side, so they are clearly reviewing that, but he will likely return to Leeds United in the summer now, around a question mark of does he go back to Preston for half of that value or does he go somewhere else next season, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on the likes of Greenwood and obviously Joe Gelhardt, who's out on loan at the moment as well, when we get information on that. Let's move on. Let's talk about Leeds being one step closer to promotion and a couple of numbers to keep an eye on in the next couple of weeks. There's still plenty of points on the table to play for over the next 4 games, but Leeds now have a 5-point gap to third place Sheffield United, and Sheffield United, as we know, will have to play Burnley on Easter Monday. And should results go Leeds' way and Leeds pick up maximum points in their games, this could be all done and dusted come late Monday night. A huge part of Leeds' success so far this season has been the home record and home form, and the side's win at the weekend sees Leeds pick up their 16th home win of the season, meaning that Leeds have picked up 52 points so far during the campaign at home. With 2 league games remaining to go this season, Leeds could see that with maximum points hit 58 points, and it would move them into a bracket of clubs that hasn't been seen in quite some time. Not since Watford in the 2020-2021 season has any side won more than 59 points at home during a season. Leeds, as I say, will finish the season on 58 points should they win their final 2 games of the season, but they would just fall 1 point shy of that. But it does go to show how impactful the home form and the home support has been for Leeds this season at Elland Road. Leeds' remaining home games will be Easter Monday against Stoke City, which won't be a straightforward game at all, and Leeds will need to just make sure they get the job done in that one. And then they have Bristol City at home in the second last game of the season. 2 wins, as we say, in those games should be enough to see Leeds up, and they can pick up any points in the other 2 games. Maximum needed right now is said to be 7 points, but again, depending on how Sheffield United's next 2 fixtures go, with games running out and points running out, it could be all done and dusted by Monday night if Leeds can just go and get their bit done, hold their nerve and get over the line in the next 2 games. And then finally today we'll finish up with the U21s, and they finished off their Premier League 2 campaign this season, and a very good campaign for Scott Gardner's young Leeds United under-21 side, but they drew 1-1 with Liverpool in the final game of the PL2 season. Chris Moore scored the opener in that game, giving Leeds United the leads, but Liverpool did equalise towards the back end, meaning the season finishes with a 1-1 draw and a mid-table finish for the Leeds United under 21s. But Leeds United and Scott Gardner's attention will now turn to the National League Cup final, where Scott Gardner's side will take on Steve Morrison's Sutton United. The final will take place at the VBS Community Stadium, and the game is being confirmed to take place on Tuesday night, the 29th of April, with a 7 p.m. kickoff. There are tickets available through leedsunited.com. You can check that out if you want it and go and see that game, and a chance for Scott Gardner's side to pick up some silverware. And as I say, it's a very young side. A lot of the Leeds United under 18s from last season moved up into that squad. It's a really positive, bright looking squad, and hopefully over the next year or two they can continue to develop, and we might start seeing a few more of them pop into the first team, likes of Luke Chadwick, Harry Gray, all on the edge of the first team squad right now. James DeBio also, but other players there like Oliver Boast, Ollie Pickles and Freddie Lane also, amongst others. Lots of other names in there as well are worth keeping an eye on, and Rory Mahady, the keeper, as well in the coming years. Folks, that'll be it for me today. Might be back tonight with something not confirmed. If not, it will be Wednesday or Thursday night before we get something in podcast wise out to you. But if not, I'll see you tomorrow morning for the news. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. See you then. Bye.